All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at a really powerful and honestly kind of counterintuitive idea about productivity. It's a system that basically throws our whole obsession with complicated tools and expensive apps right out the window. It argues that the real secret to getting more done, well, it's not some new hack. It's something way, way more basic.
I mean, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It perfectly captures this bizarre spot we're in with modern productivity. We're always chasing the next digital solution, convinced that the key is hiding in some new system. But what if the answer isn't on our phones at all? What if it's literally in our own biology? That's the conflict we're going to unpack right now.
So, first up, let's talk about the productivity trap. We're going to pull back the curtain on this seductive lie of systems and figure out why we're so drawn to these super elaborate tools that might actually be leading us down the wrong path. The appeal is pretty simple, right? These systems give us a feeling of being in control. When you organize all your tasks into these perfect little boxes and beautiful workflows, you get that satisfying little dopamine hit. It feels like you're making progress. But as we're going to see, that feeling of mastery, it might just be an illusion.
And here it is. This is the truth bomb at the center of it all. The reason your perfectly designed system isn't working for you, it's not because you picked the wrong app, it's not because you didn't follow some guru's advice perfectly. The real problem is so much simpler, and honestly, it's a lot harder for us to admit. You're just plain tired. You're exhausted.
Let's just make this personal for a second. Seriously, think about it. When was the last time you actually got 8 solid, uninterrupted hours of sleep? I'm not talking 6 hours or 7 with a few wake-ups. I mean 8, straight through. For a lot of us, it's been weeks, maybe months, or even years. And this, right here, is where the real productivity crisis begins. Okay, so that brings us to our next big idea, Mammal before Manager. This section is all about a pretty radical reframe, the idea that we need to take care of our basic biology before we even think about trying to optimize our work.
I mean, just look at this contrast. It's so stark. On one side, you've got the manager's world, all about systems, control, hacks. And on the other side, you've got the mammal's world, sleep, movement, rest. We spend all our time and energy trying to perfect the stuff in that left column while we totally neglect the right one, which is the very foundation for everything else. And this is the phrase that just changes everything. It's a simple but really profound reordering of our priorities. Before you can be a great manager, or a great leader, or a great creator, you have to first be a healthy, well-functioning mammal. It all starts with your biology.
All right, now for the part that might really blow your mind. This isn't just some nice feel-good idea. It is backed by some undeniable and frankly savage scientific evidence. Let's start with this number, 30%. What's that? Well, according to the famous neuroscientist Matthew Walker, just one single night of not getting enough sleep can crank up your anxiety levels by as much as 30%. Just think about that for a second. One bad night. Your entire emotional and mental state is totally changed before your day has even started.
And it doesn't just stop with anxiety. Oh no, sleep deprivation also completely torpedoes your cognitive abilities. It tanks your memory, your decision-making, and even your immune function. There is no productivity tool on this planet that can fix a fried nervous system.
Okay, so what about movement? Well, a massive 2023 meta-analysis from the University of South Australia looked at all the different ways to treat depression. And the results? They were absolutely stunning. They really challenge what a lot of us assume about mental health. And here it is. The findings were just jaw-dropping. Physical activity wasn't just as effective, it was more effective than both medication and therapy at reducing symptoms of depression. Think about that. Something as simple as going for a walk proved to be more powerful than our most common and often expensive solutions. So what this means is that we can't just treat this stuff like friendly advice anymore, like, oh, you should get more sleep. No, this is clinical evidence. It's the biological reality of how our bodies and our brains are designed to work at their absolute best.
All right, so given all this evidence, what's the actual fix? What's the primal prescription? Well, it's almost laughably simple, which is probably the exact reason we so often ignore it.
Okay, first things first. We have to be honest with ourselves and recognize that our obsession with systems is often just a really clever, sneaky form of procrastination. We get that little dopamine hit from building the perfect workflow or finding a cool new app, and that lets us avoid the actual, sometimes really difficult work. And that includes the work of just resting properly.
And this gets to the absolute heart of the matter. High performance, creativity, excellence, they aren't the result of a perfectly organized digital life.
They are the result of having the raw biological energy to show up, to focus, and to get things done. Energy is the real currency of achievement, not apps.
And here it is, the Primal prescription. It's not some 10-step program or a complicated life hack matrix. It's just two things, 8 hours of sleep and 30 minutes of walking. But the real secret, the part that makes it all work, is right there in the subtitle, every single day. Consistency is what turns these boring basics into an absolute superpower.
So the message here is crystal clear. Make this your foundation. Before you spend another $1 on a course or another hour setting up a new app, just commit to this simple, free, evidence-backed routine first. Get your baseline right, and then you can worry about optimizing everything else. You know, this might be one of the most powerful reframes in this whole thing. That feeling you call laziness, it's probably just accumulated sleep debt. What about that lack of discipline? It could very well be burnout. And that feeling of overwhelm? Maybe it's just your body screaming at you to get up and move. See? These aren't moral failings. They're biological signals.
Ultimately, this is what it all boils down to. The goal isn't to find some system that can force a completely depleted body to perform. The goal is to cultivate a body that is so well rested and so energized that productivity just becomes a natural, almost effortless byproduct.
So I'll just leave you with this thought to chew on. If you really, truly committed to just these two basic things, sleep and walking, how many of the problems you're currently trying to solve with all those complicated systems and hacks would just disappear?